Ladies and gentlemen, listen to me for a moment. I'm not here to give you some empty promises. I'm not here to tell you that everything is going to be easy. But I'm here to tell you something that you can take to the bank, something you can hold on to when the storms of life come crashing in. I want you to listen closely because what I'm about to say could change the way you look at everything. Your past, your present, and your future. Now, you might think, change my life in a week? That's impossible. People have been trying to change their lives for years and it hasn't happened for them, but you're wrong. Let me tell you why. The truth is, change doesn't happen when we sit around waiting for it. Change happens when we make a decision. And I'm not talking about some half-hearted decision either. I'm talking about a decision that shakes you to your core, a decision that wakes you up in the middle of the night and says, you've got to do better. You see, change doesn't come easy and it doesn't come quick, but it does come. But only if you're ready to do the work. And I'm telling you right now, you can change your life in a week. But the key is to understand that it's not about what happens to you in that week. It's about what you choose to do with that week. First thing I want you to do is look yourself in the mirror. I mean, really look. Don't just glance at your reflection like you always do. Look deep into your own eyes and ask yourself, am I living the life I was meant to live? Am I doing everything I can to become the person I know I can be? I want you to ask yourself, am I being honest with myself about the life I'm living? You see, that's where it starts. It starts with truth. You can't change until you get real with yourself. And if you can't do that, if you can't be honest with yourself, then you're never going to see any change. So once you've looked yourself in the eye, I want you to make a commitment. Right there in that moment. Make a commitment to yourself that you are going to make this week count. Not next week, not next month, not in a year. I'm talking about today, right now. You can't keep pushing things off. You've been doing that long enough. You've been saying, I'll start tomorrow or I'll get to it next week. No, no more of that. It's time to take responsibility for your life. Right here, right now. Now, let me tell you something else. Change isn't going to happen by you sitting around waiting for someone to hand you something. It's not going to happen because you've got a lucky break. Change happens when you make up your mind that you are no longer going to let life control you. You've got to take control of your life. You've got to stand up, look the world in the face and say, this is my life. I am in charge. But here's the thing, you're not going to do it all once. Change isn't an overnight thing, it's a process. And the first step in that process is to get discipline. Discipline is what separates the people who talk about change from the people who actually do it. You want to change your life, you better get disciplined. You better start doing the things that you know you need to do, even when you don't feel like doing them. It's easy to show up when you're excited. It's easy to do the work when everything is going your way. But where are you when things get tough? Where are you when the obstacles come, when the doubt creeps in, when the world tells you that you can't do it? Are you going to quit? Or are you going to push through? Because let me tell you, the road to change isn't a smooth one. It's not paved and pretty. It's rough. It's rocky. It's rocky. It's filled with twists and turns that will throw you off course. But that's what separates the ones who make it from the ones who don't. It's the ones who get knocked down but refuse to stay down. It's the ones who refuse to accept anything less than their best. So ask yourself right now, are you willing to put in the work? But it's not just about showing up. You've got to show up with purpose. You've got to show up with a plan. Don't just wake up every day and hope for the best. That's not how life works. No, you've got to set goals. You've got to know exactly what you're going after. And you've got to break it down into steps. Each day you wake up with a mission. And if you don't have a mission, then you're going to wander. You're going to get lost in the noise of the world, and you'll end up right back where you started. So here's the thing. In this next week, I want you to be intentional. I want you to write down exactly what it is you want to change. Maybe you want to get in better shape. Maybe you want to get your finances in order, or maybe you want to be a better version of yourself. Whatever it is, write it down. Get clear on what you're working toward. Then break it down into bite-sized pieces. What do you need to do today? What do you need to do tomorrow? What small action can you take right now that will move you closer to where you want to be? Don't make the mistake of thinking that big change only happens when you take big steps. No, the smallest actions, the little choices you make each and every day, that's what makes the difference. When you make that one small decision to get up early and work on your dreams, when you make that one small decision to turn off the TV and read a book that will make you better, when you make that one small decision to stop eating junk and start taking care of your body, that's when the change starts. That's when the momentum begins to build. And here's another thing: you're going to have people in your life who try to talk you out of it. You're going to have people who say, "What are you doing? Why are you changing? You don't need to do all that. Why are you working so hard? Why don't you just take it easy? You've got time." Let me tell you something: don't listen to them. Don't let anyone tell you that you don't have what it takes. Don't let anyone tell you that you're wasting your time. Because you are not wasting your time. You are investing in yourself. You are building the life you deserve. And you better believe that when you start to change, when you start to rise up, there are going to be some people who are uncomfortable with it. But that's their problem, not yours. You've got to keep pushing. You've got to keep moving forward no matter what. You've got to keep your eyes on the prize, even when it feels like the whole world is trying to hold. True change begins with being honest with yourself about where you are in life. Look in the mirror and ask yourself if you're living up to your full potential. The power to change is in your hands, but you must first decide to take responsibility for your life and stop waiting for things to change on their own. Change doesn't happen without discipline. It's about showing up every day, even when you don't feel like it, and doing the hard work required to improve. Consistency, focus, and resilience are what separate those who talk about change from those who actually make it happen. To change your life in a week, you need a clear, actionable plan. Set specific goals for yourself and break them down into smaller steps. Focus on what you can do today and stay intentional about making progress, no matter how small. People will try to discourage you or make you feel like you're wasting your time. Don't listen to them. The road to change is tough, but if you stay focused and refuse to let others sway you, you will create the life you've always wanted. Keep pushing, even when things get difficult. And remember that the work you're doing is an investment in your future. Take a moment to reflect. Look at where you are right now. I want you to really look at it. No distractions, no excuses. Don't try to justify where you are or explain it away. Just look. Look at the choices you've made, the path you've walked, and the results that have come from it. Now ask yourself, honestly, is this where you want to be? Is this the life you imagine for yourself? Is this the best version of you, the one you know deep down you can be? Everything you have in your life right now, whether you like it or not, is a result of the choices you've made. Your habits, your actions, your decisions, these have led you to this point. And I know that might be tough to hear. It's not always easy to take responsibility for the things that didn't go the way you hoped. It's easier to blame your circumstances, your upbringing, the economy, or other people. It's easier to point the finger at everything else but yourself. But that's not going to get you anywhere. The moment you decide to blame anything outside of yourself for where you are, you lose your power. You give away the one thing that can actually change everything, the ability to take control of your own destiny. That's right, I'm talking about responsibility. If you want to change your life, you first have to take full responsibility for it. Now, I know that may sound like a lot to carry, but hear me out. Taking responsibility doesn't mean you're admitting failure or guilt. It doesn't mean you're somehow responsible for every bad thing that's happened to you. What it means is that you are owning your life. You are no longer waiting for someone else to make things right. You're no longer hoping for the perfect set of circumstances or a lucky break. Taking responsibility means you acknowledge where you are, you accept it, and then you take action to change it. There is so much power in this. The minute you take responsibility, you gain control. Because as long as you're blaming everything else, you're essentially a passenger in your own life, just waiting to see where the ride takes you. But when you decide to take responsibility, you become the driver. You take control of the wheel and you decide the direction you're going to go. It's up to you. Now, let's get clear about what that looks like. First, you have to be honest with yourself. No more pretending. No more hiding behind excuses. You can't change anything if you're not willing to face the truth. You've got to be willing to admit to yourself that some of the choices you've made, the things you've allowed to happen, have led you to this point. Maybe you've procrastinated. Maybe you've been afraid. Maybe you've been caught up in distractions or bad habits. That's the reality. But here's the beauty of it. No matter what got you here, you have the power to change it. You can choose to make better decisions moving forward. But you can't make those changes until you acknowledge that you were the one who let it all happen in the first place. Think about it. Every choice you make, every action you take has consequences. Sometimes those consequences are good and sometimes they're not so great. But it's not about beating yourself up over what happened. It's about understanding the cause and effect. Every time you chose to put things off, every time you chose comfort over growth, you made a decision. And those decisions led to results, some of which you may not be happy with. But now you have to ask yourself, what kind of results do you want? What kind of future do you want to create? When you take responsibility for your life, you're saying, I own this, I created this, and now I'm going to create something better. It's about taking your power back. It's about saying, I am in charge of my life. No one else. Not my past, not my circumstances, not the people around me. I make the choices that shape my future. That's a powerful statement. That's when things start to change. But here's the thing, taking responsibility doesn't mean you have to have all the answers. It doesn't mean you know exactly what to do next. But it does mean you're willing to figure it out. You're willing to take the first step, even if it's uncomfortable. Because the truth is, nothing worth having comes easy. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it. But success, fulfillment, happiness, they don't come by accident. They come when you take responsibility for your actions and your outcomes. There's another part to taking responsibility, and that's being willing to face the tough realities of your life. Sometimes taking responsibility means you have to let go of the victim mentality. You can't keep telling yourself that life is unfair, that you were dealt a bad hand, or that other people are the reason you're stuck. If you keep playing the victim, you'll always be powerless. If you keep telling yourself that someone else is to blame, you'll never find the strength to change. You've got to stop looking outward and start looking inward. You've got to stop complaining and start doing. Life is not fair, but that doesn't mean you can't win. It doesn't mean you can't rise above your circumstances. Let me be clear, taking responsibility isn't about taking on guilt or shame. It's not about beating yourself up for mistakes you've made in the past. You're human. We all make mistakes. We all have regrets. But you can't change what's already happened. What you can change is what happens next. You can't change yesterday, but you have total control over today. And today is where it all starts. When you stop making excuses, when you stop playing the blame game, you free yourself. You stop living in the past and you start living in the present. And in the present, you have the power to create something new. You have the power to make choices that will move you closer to the person you want to be. But it starts with taking responsibility. It starts with looking in the mirror and saying, I'm the one who has to make this change. I'm the one who's going to take action. I'm the one who's going to create the future I want. Taking responsibility also means you have to get real about your weaknesses. You can't pretend everything is fine when it's not. You have to look at the areas of your life where you've been slacking, where you've been making excuses, where you've been avoiding the hard work. If you want to change, you can't ignore those areas. You have to confront them head on. You have to acknowledge where you're weak and then make the decision to grow. Now, I'm not saying this is easy. It's not. It's uncomfortable. It's painful. It's humbling. But let me tell you something. This is where growth happens. Growth happens when you get uncomfortable. Growth happens when you face the parts of yourself you don't like. Growth happens when you decide that you're going to stop being a spectator in your own life and start being the author of your story. Growth happens when you say, I'm done making excuses, I'm done blaming the world, I'm going to own my life, and I'm going to create the future I deserve. It's not going to be a smooth ride. You're going to hit bumps in the road. There are going to be days when you feel like you're not making any progress, when you feel like quitting. But let me remind you, those are the moments when you need to dig deep. Those are the moments when you need to remind yourself why you're doing this in the first place. Don't let setbacks derail you. Don't let obstacles knock you off course. Stay focused. Keep your eyes on the prize. You're taking responsibility for your life, and that means you keep moving forward no matter what. You're not in this alone. When you take responsibility for your life, you align yourself with something greater than yourself. You align yourself with the power of action, the power of persistence, the power of resilience. And when you do that, you start to see opportunities everywhere. You start to see the people, the situations, the resources that can help you get to the next level. But it all starts with the decision to take responsibility. Are you ready to take responsibility for your life? Are you ready to stop blaming and start doing? Are you ready to make the decision that you are the one who controls your destiny? Because if you are, then nothing can stop you. Nothing. Not your past, not your circumstances, not your fears. When you take responsibility, you take your power back. And that is the first step to changing everything. Discipline is the foundation of success. It's the thing that separates the dreamers from the doers, the talkers from the achievers, the ones who wish from the ones who actually make it happen. Let's get one thing straight if you want to change your life. If you want to achieve anything significant, if you want to live the life you've always dreamed of, it won't happen by luck, chance, or by simply waiting for the perfect moment. It will happen because you decide to cultivate discipline in your life and you stick to it day in and day out. You see, discipline is not some flashy, one-time effort. It's a commitment. It's a lifestyle. It's a series of small, consistent actions that you take day after day, even when you don't feel like it. It's the ability to keep going when the excitement wears off, when the initial motivation fades, and when the road gets tough. If you want to achieve anything worthwhile, you must understand that discipline is the vehicle that will carry you through the rough patches and bring you to your destination. The first thing you need to realize is that success doesn't just happen because you wish for it. You can't just hope, pray, or visualize your way to success. You can dream big, you can set goals, you can even create a vision board, but none of that means a thing unless you back it up with discipline. It's like wanting to be in great shape but never stepping foot in the gym. Or wanting to be financially independent but never creating a budget or investing wisely. Or wanting to write a book but never putting pen to paper. You can want all you want, but until you have the discipline to do what needs to be done, none of that will come to fruition. Now let's talk about what discipline actually looks like in action. Discipline is not about doing something once or twice and calling it a day. Discipline is showing up consistently, even when the results aren't immediate. It's about committing to the process, even when you don't see instant gratification. How many people start a fitness routine or begin a diet plan or try to learn something new only to give up after a few days or weeks because they don't see immediate results? They get discouraged because the process isn't as easy or as fast as they expected. But that's the problem. They don't understand that success is not about quick wins or instant results. It's about long-term, consistent effort. And that, my friend, is what discipline is all about. Discipline is the ability to delay gratification. It's about making the right choices even when it's hard. It's about saying no to the things that feel good in the moment but are holding you back from achieving your bigger goals. It's about pushing through those moments when you want to quit, when it's easier to give in to distractions, or when you're tempted to take the shortcut. Discipline is about doing what you know needs to be done, even when your mind tells you otherwise. It's choosing the long-term gain over the short-term pleasure. In today's world, distractions are everywhere. We live in an age where everything is designed to pull our attention in a million different directions. Social media, TV, emails, text messages, notifications, it's constant. The world is full of noise, and it's easier than ever to get off track. It's easy to procrastinate, to convince yourself that you'll start tomorrow, to tell yourself that you need a break right now. But here's the truth: discipline is the antidote to distraction. Discipline is what helps you stay focused on your goals and stay on track when everything around you is trying to pull you away. If you want to be successful, you need to learn how to protect your time and your energy. You need to be ruthless about where you spend your attention. If you want to build a successful business, you can't afford to waste time scrolling through Instagram for hours. If you want to get in shape, you can't let Netflix be the excuse that keeps you from working out. If you want to achieve your dreams, you can't allow yourself to get sidetracked by every new shiny object that comes your way. You've got to have the discipline to say no to distractions and yes to what really matters. But it's not just about avoiding distractions. It's also about creating habits that support your success. Discipline is about setting up systems, routines, and structures that allow you to consistently work toward your goals. Successful people don't just rely on motivation, they rely on habits. It's the little things you do every day that compound over time and lead to massive results. Whether it's waking up early, writing for an hour every morning, exercising consistently, or eating healthy meals, it's these small daily habits that build up over time and create success. Discipline is also about being accountable to yourself. Too many people depend on external motivation or on other people to push them to stay on track. But the truth is, external motivation only gets you so far. At some point, you've got to learn how to motivate yourself. You've got to become the person who shows up, even when no one is watching, even when there's no applause, and even when it's hard. That's the real test of discipline. When no one else is there to cheer you on, are you still going to do the work? Are you still going to push yourself to get better every single day? That's what separates the average from the extraordinary. It's important to recognize that discipline also means being consistent, even when the results aren't visible right away. This is where most people fail. They want immediate feedback. They want to see the results right now. But success doesn't work that way. It's not always about instant results. It's about consistent incremental progress. You might not see the fruits of your labor for weeks, months, or even years. But that doesn't mean you stop. Discipline is about continuing to work even when you can't see the end result yet. It's about trusting the process and knowing that every little effort adds up. One of the most difficult aspects of discipline is the ability to handle failure and setbacks. Let me be clear, you will fail. There will be days when you don't hit your goals, days when you slip up, days when you slip up, days when you want to quit. But that's not the point. The point is how you respond to those setbacks. Do you give up, or do you get back on track and keep moving forward? Discipline means learning from your failures and using them as fuel to push you even harder. It's about getting up after you fall, dusting yourself off, and continuing the journey. Successful people are not the ones who never fail, they're the ones who never quit. They use their failures as stepping stones to success. Another aspect of discipline is delayed gratification. This is one of the hardest things to master in today's world, where instant satisfaction is just a click away. We want everything now, we want the rewards without the work. But success doesn't come without sacrifice. Sometimes you have to put in the work today to reap the rewards tomorrow. You have to forgo the immediate pleasure to achieve long-term gain. That's discipline, being able to stay focused on the bigger picture and not get distracted by the small, short-term pleasures that won't help you reach your ultimate goal. Discipline also means knowing when to rest. It's not about working yourself into the ground, burning out, or sacrificing your health. True discipline is about working smart, not just hard. It's about knowing when to push and when to take a step back. It's about balance, because burnout is real. And it's not a sign of success. It's a sign that you've lost your discipline in managing your energy, your time, and your focus. To sum it up, discipline is what will take you from where you are to where you want to be. It's what will get you through the hard days, the days when you want to give up, and the days when it seems like success is so far away. It's about creating habits, routines, and systems that set you up for success. It's about taking responsibility for your choices, staying focused on your goals, and doing the work day in and day out. Discipline is the key to success because it's the force that keeps you moving forward, even when the journey is tough. If you want to be successful, you've got to commit to it. You've got to be disciplined. There are no shortcuts. Just consistent, focused effort over time. That's the secret. That's the key. Do you know exactly what you want in life? I'm talking about clarity here, not vague ideas or dreams that you haven't really defined. Do you know exactly what your goals are? Do you have a clear, unshakable vision of where you want to go and the steps you need to take to get there? You can't hit a target you can't see. You can't walk a path you haven't mapped out. If you're going to achieve anything significant in life, you've got to be intentional about it. You've got to know what you want, why you want it, and what you're willing to do to make it happen. Without clear goals and a specific plan, you're just wandering. You're just going through the motions. And let me tell you something, going through the motions will never get you where you want to go. Being intentional means deciding with clarity what your goals are and then aligning every action you take with those goals. It's about having purpose and direction in everything you do. It's not about random decisions or doing things because it's what everyone else is doing. It's about making deliberate, conscious choices that move you closer to the life you want to build. The world is full of distractions, full of noise, and if you're not intentional, it's easy to get caught up in the chaos. But when you have a clear sense of purpose and clear goals, you cut through the noise. You create a path that's uniquely yours, one that you can follow with conviction. The first step in being intentional is to get clear on what you want. Many people go through life without truly defining their goals, and then they wonder why they're not making progress. You cannot afford to be vague. I want to be successful is not a goal. I want to be financially independent as a start, but it's still too general. You need to break it down further. What does success look like to you? What does financial independence mean for you? How much money do you need? By when? What steps do you need to take to get there? Get specific, write it down, make it measurable, make it real. One of the reasons people don't set clear goals is because they're afraid of failing, they're afraid of setting a goal and then falling short. So they set goals that are easy, that don't require much effort or commitment. Big play it safe. But here's the thing, if your goals don't scare you a little bit, you're not aiming high enough. If your goals don't push you outside your comfort zone, you're not growing. You need to set goals that challenge you, goals that force you to stretch, to expand, to evolve into the person you need to be in order to achieve them. When you set clear goals, it's like putting a flag on the top of a mountain. You see the peak, you know where you're going, and you know the direction you need to take to get there. But it's not just about putting a flag on the mountain. It's about planning the route. It's about breaking down the journey into smaller, manageable steps. Success is not one giant leap, it's a series of smaller, intentional actions that build on one another. You need to break your goals down into tasks. What can you do today? What can you do this week? What will you do this month? And so on. This is where most people fail. They have a big vision, but they never break it down into actionable steps. Being intentional means you are fully aware of what needs to be done, and you do it. You don't wait for motivation to hit you. You don't wait for the perfect moment. You don't wait for circumstances to change. You take action right now, even when the conditions aren't ideal. Success is not about waiting for the stars to align. It's about making the decision that you're going to do the work, no matter what. And that's where the power of clarity comes in. When you're crystal clear on your goals, you know what you need to do each day to move closer to them. There's no confusion. There's no wasted time. You stop asking yourself, what should I do today? Because you already know. You wake up with a plan. You wake up with purpose. You wake up knowing that every move you make is aligned with your bigger vision. You've got to hold yourself accountable. You've got to be disciplined enough to stay on track. And this is where intention comes in again. Because let's be real, life happens. There will be distractions. There will be setbacks. There will be moments when you feel like giving up. But when you're clear about your goals, when you're intentional, you don't let those things throw you off course. You stay focused. You keep moving forward. You don't let the little obstacles become mountains. You recognize them for what they are, temporary setbacks. And you move past them. You stay on the path you set for yourself. The key here is consistency. The biggest difference between those who achieve their goals and those who don't is consistency. Anyone can work hard for a short period of time. Anyone can be motivated for a day, a week, maybe even a month. But the question is, can you stay consistent when the novelty wears off? Can you keep pushing when the excitement fades and the hard work sets in? That's where discipline and intentionality come together. When you're intentional, you understand that success is built on small, consistent actions, not on one big push. You don't have to go all out every day, but you do need to make progress every day. A little bit of progress each day adds up. A little bit of effort day in and day out is what leads to extraordinary results over time. But it's not just about doing the work. It's about being intentional with your time and energy. You only have so much of both. You can't afford to waste them on things that don't align with your goals. Every decision you make should be a reflection of your larger vision. Every choice you make should bring you one step closer to the life you want to create. Being intentional means prioritizing the things that matter and saying no to the things that don't. This is where a lot of people go wrong. They fill their days with busy work, checking off tasks that seem important but aren't actually moving them closer to their goals. They check emails, scroll through social media, respond to messages, but at the end of the day, they haven't made any real progress toward what they truly want. That's not being intentional, that's being reactive. You've got to stop reacting to life and start creating it. You've got to be proactive, set boundaries, and protect your time. You've got to say no to. There are moments in life when doubt will creep in. You can try to ignore it, suppress it, or even deny it, but no matter how hard you try, doubt will come for you. It's a sneaky little thing. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't give you a warning. It just shows up uninvited when you least expect it, right when you start getting serious about your goals, right when you take that first step toward the life you've always wanted. And in those moments, doubt will try to take you down. It will tell you that you're not good enough, that you're not capable, that you don't have what it takes. It will whisper in your ear, convincing you to play it safe, to stick with what's comfortable, to settle for the life you know rather than going after the life you deserve. But here's the thing, doubt is a liar. It's not telling you the truth. It's telling you what you fear, not what you are capable of. You have the power to push through that doubt. You have the power to ignore it, to shut it down, and to keep moving forward no matter how loud it gets. And the key to doing that is not letting doubt define you. The moment you let doubt define your actions, you lose. But when you recognize it for what it is, just a passing feeling that has no real power over you, that's when you start to win. You have to understand that doubt is a natural part of the process. Everyone faces it. It doesn't matter who you are or what you're trying to achieve, whether you're starting a business, trying to get in shape, writing a book, or building relationships, doubt is going to show up at some point. But what separates those who succeed from those who don't is how they respond to it. Some people let doubt paralyze them. They let it stop them in their tracks. They listen to it. They let it convince them that they're not good enough, that they'll never make it. And they quit. But other people, successful people, choose to push through it. They choose to confront their doubt head on, to look it in the face and say, you don't get to control me. You don't get to decide my future. I'm not stopping because of you. Doubt will always be there. It's part of the deal. But the secret is this: you can't let it control you. You can't let it be the thing that decides whether you take the next step or whether you quit. The more you try to ignore it or push it away, the louder it gets. But when you face it, when you acknowledge it, when you say, yeah, I hear you, but I'm still moving forward, that's when it starts to lose its power. You see, doubt is a test. It's testing your commitment. It's testing your resolve. It's testing your belief in yourself and in your dreams. Every time you push through doubt, every time you choose to take that next step in spite of it, you get stronger. You build resilience. You show yourself that you can handle adversity. And every time you get past doubt, you inch closer to your goals. You show yourself that you're capable of doing hard things, that you're willing to fight for what you want, even when the road is difficult. But let's be real for a minute. It's not just the doubt within you that you have to fight against. It's also the doubt that other people try to impose on you. There will always be naysayers, always. There will always be people who doubt your abilities, who question your goals, who tell you that you're wasting your time. They'll tell you that your dreams are too big, that you're too ambitious, that you'll never make it. And here's the thing, the naysayers are not the ones who are going to live your life. They're not the ones who are going to walk your path. They're not the ones who are going to do the work. So why would you let them have any say in what you can do? The naysayers are not your problem. The real problem is when you start listening to them. The real problem is when you start letting their doubts seep into your mind and affect your actions. When you start listening to the people who tell you to play it safe, you start doubting yourself. You start second guessing your decisions. You start wondering if maybe they're right, if maybe you're not cut out for this after all. But here's what you need to remember: those naysayers are speaking from their own fears, their own limitations, their own doubts. They're not speaking from a place of truth. They're speaking from a place of comfort. They're trying to keep you small because that's where they feel comfortable. But you've got to rise above that. You've got to block out the noise. You've got to tune out the voices of the people who don't believe in you, who don't understand your vision, and who don't see the potential in you. Because if you listen to those voices, you'll end up limiting yourself to their view of the world, not yours. And trust me, their view is not the one you want. You were meant for bigger things. You were meant to do more. You were meant to make a bigger impact. But if you let the naysayers dictate your decisions, you'll stay stuck in mediocrity. You'll never reach your potential. That's why it's so important to develop the mindset of someone who pushes through doubt and ignores naysayers. You've got to know deep down that the only person whose opinion really matters is your own. The only voice that should have the power to shape your actions is the one inside your head that tells you to keep going. The only person who gets to decide what you're capable of is you. And you know what? You are capable of more than you think. You are stronger than you give yourself credit for. You have the power to push through anything, to rise above any doubt, and to ignore any naysayer that tries to hold you back. But how do you do it? How do you push through doubt when it feels like it's overwhelming you? How do you keep moving forward when everything inside you is screaming at you to quit? The first thing you need to do is to develop an unwavering belief in yourself. You've got to believe in your abilities, in your worth, and in your potential. You've got to know that you are capable of achieving your goals, no matter how big or how hard they seem. And when you truly believe in yourself, doubt has no power over you. It becomes a passing thought that you can ignore. It becomes a background noise that fades into the distance. The second thing you need to do is take action. When doubt strikes, don't sit there and dwell on it. Don't overthink it. Don't let it paralyze you. Take action anyway. Even if you're scared, even if you're not sure, take one small step toward your goal. Because here's the truth: action is the antidote to doubt. The more you take action, the more confident you become. The more you push forward, the less doubt can hold you back. You start to prove to yourself that you can do it. And the more you prove it to yourself, the less doubt has any power over you. Finally, you've got to learn to trust the process. You've got to trust that every step you take, no matter how small, is bringing you closer to your goal. Trust that the hard work you're putting in is making a difference, even if you don't see it right away. Success is a marathon, not a sprint. It takes time. It takes effort. It takes persistence. But if you keep moving forward, if you keep pushing through the doubt, if you keep ignoring the naysayers, you will eventually reach your destination. So when doubt creeps in, and it will remember this, you have everything you need to overcome it. You have the strength, the resilience, and the courage to keep going. You have the power to ignore the people who tell you it can't be done. You have the ability to shut down the negative self-talk and replace it with belief. Don't let doubt stop you. Don't let the naysayers control you. Keep moving forward. Because your dreams are waiting for you on the other side of that doubt. And they're worth every ounce of effort you've got.